Steve and I have a 2004 Jeep Grand Cherokee here in the shop, and we're getting ready to replace the radiator in it. I'm not gonna lie to you, this is a little bit of a pain in the butt job to do, but we'll show you what's involved with it.
All right, so Tony was telling you this radiator is a little tough to do, and it's because the steering box is stuffed right up against the radiator here. So this is what the issue is. So we're gonna take this air box out, this snorkel off. We're gonna take the tire off, some of the inner fender skirt out. We gotta loosen the windshield washer jug up. And we've gotta take the 3 bolts out of the steering box and literally push the steering box back out of the way. So when we get to the radiator part, we can pull the radiator up. There's an ear on the bottom of the radiator that actually hits the steering box. So unfortunately, you have to unbolt the steering box and stuff it back in, 1.5 inches, 2 inches, so that you can get the radiator out. So in order to do that, we've got to take the air box out, loosen up the windshield washer fluid jug, which has got a 10 millimeter here, take this ductwork out of the way, pull the tire, and we're going to start by doing that. So we disconnected the ground cable off the battery to start, and we're going to get the air box. Take the 5/16 off here. We've got a couple of quick disconnects, one here, there's one in the back here, and we've got one over here, 2 over here actually. So flip these up. Let me get this air box off. Then we got some 13 millimeter bolts that holds the bottom of it down. We'll get that off. Cover loose. Let's get this off. Get the filter out. And we've got, looks like a 13 right down in here.
All right, what size socket we got on there, Steve?
13.
13?
Pull the tire off.
It's a 19 mil. All right, so now what we're gonna do is gonna remove the splash shield. There's a nut up here that we need to get at to hold, to take that other bolt off the air filter box assembly.
And there's another one hidden over here.
There's another one hidden over there.
Yeah, so we'll get these button plugs out and we'll pull the fender, this plastic skirt back with a bungee cord.
Cool. Steve has a fancy tool to remove these things, but you can do it with, a screwdriver or a trim piece remover if you have one.
This has like a button in the middle you push in.
Yeah.
You get this one to come out. Fender's rotted up here, so. And there's.
This is a New England Jeep.
It's off.
There you go.
Okay, so there's one bolt for the air cleaner, and there's the other one. Oh, this one is right here.
Yeah, there's 3 of
And
them.
it looks like there's something here too, so.
So what I'm gonna do is gonna load the Jeep down. I'm gonna throw a wrench on those 3 bolts right there, and Steve's gonna grab it from the top side, and we're gonna get these out and pull the air box assembly out. What you got there for a wrench, Steve?
13 millimeter.
13 mil. All right,
Yeah.
fits like a glove.
Okay, all right.
All right, we took those 3 bolts out, so now we can lift the air box assembly out of there.
We used the wrench to come down underneath this one. We'll show you. And Tony got the ratchet on the bottom, so you can pull the air box out with this little cover here. It's just
It's like a dog leg coming off it.
plus my holes,
There you go.
This off the corner here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got to come in like this and then twist in place when we put the air box back in. It's just a pain. Okay, so here's the steering box. We're gonna go underneath. We gotta take this one bolt off of the windshield washer jug right here, 10 millimeter. And then we're gonna have to, because one of the bolts for the steering box, of course, is behind the jug. So let's get that bolt off right now, and then we'll go underneath and loosen the steering box up. Don't fall on me, huh? Okay, so leave all this stuff up here. So this was the bolt that we couldn't get to on right here. So we're gonna never seize all of these when we put them back in. So here's the washer. Here's the bolts for the steering box. And 1, 2, 3. Of course, the jug's right in your way. So we got another 2 10mm bolts we're gonna take out. We're not gonna really take the jug right out. We're just gonna push it out of the way. We'll just get the jug. Yeah, I'm hoping I don't have to take it out of the way. Here, we're gonna have enough fucking room here. We might not. We might not. God. Yeah, we're gonna have to take this fucking thing out. That's holding it over here.
Of course you do. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Okay, well, this thing should slide out. This
There you go.
way. Okay, so I'm just gonna let it hang like that, and then I'm gonna push it back up in place. I'm gonna catch this bolt first. Oh, look at this, my 3, 4. So it's all 4 of these things. Yeah, one that's rotted. You're gonna make me bang the bolt on. Okay, that's the last bolt. As long as it's not hanging on my hoses, I don't really care right now.
Yeah, so we just kind of
Alright,
push this in
so-
place, and it's secure now. So
So we're gonna lower it down, and now, well, while we got it up, let's see if we can find the petcock.
I think you need to find your core support. This is a core support New England. Ugh. So now we're gonna drain out the radiator, and what we did is put an old piece of fuel line on the petcock so we can get past the bottom of the bumping here, so it doesn't go all over the place. So we get it into a pan.
Rubber hose on the petcock so that it doesn't make too much of a mess. Let's see if it helps us.
There you go.
And once I take the radiator cap off, it'll leak a little quicker. All right, take the radiator cap off.
Loosen that up.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna pull this vacuum, this coolant line off. Get this up out of the way. The radiator hose is the upper and lower we're changing. It's got a ton of mileage on the truck, so we're gonna change both of those.
Yeah, if you're doing this radiator and it's been a long time since you've done the radiator and it's been a long time since the hose has been touched or the original, while you're in here, we highly recommend changing out these hoses because this job's a little bit of a pain and you're in here anyway and the hoses aren't that expensive, right, Steve?
Nope. We got our hose pick tool. Run this around here. Already done a thermostat and gasket on this at some point, change the antifreeze, so I'm trying to save the antifreeze. Now, the new hose doesn't come with this sleeve on it. I'll transfer this over, sleeve. All right, so we got the steering box back up. We're gonna pull this thing out of the way here. And if we look down with the light, we'll see if we can see the ear of the radiator. So see that ear right down here? That's what's hitting the steering box. That's why you gotta pull the box up out of the way. Kind of sucks. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up farther, but I don't think I can. I think that's about it.
Yeah, so the radiator hose fights the box right there.
Yeah, that's about as far as it's coming. So that's all you're gonna get. And So there's a fan shroud bolt down here. Go over the other side. We'll show you the easy one. So we've got one right here to get to. It's below this connector. Let me get this connector off. Gotta push this red slide out. Just locked out there. And then we can collapse the connector, the squeeze tab, and disconnect it. So I squeezed this tab down here with my thumb, and I was able to pull back on this, but it came apart fucking tight. It came apart tight. All right, so here's that crappy bolt I was telling you about. Look how tight it is to the frame right down here. This bolt right here.
Okay.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So that's another reason this whole job stinks. As you back that thing out, it tries to push itself into the frame rail.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's awesome, all right.
That's
So,
awesome.
and now the worst one is over here. If you come over here and look at this one. So you've got the two transmission lines in your way down here that we've got to get off. And yeah, and that's
jammed in there too.
yeah. And this thing has a, looks like it's got some, those lines are coming around. And see, these are the bolts that have to come through the grill here to unbolt the radiator. So, you know, we might have to unbolt the radiator to kind of slosh this thing around a little bit to get those bolts in. I know the grills have a couple of bolts here, and they have snaps on the bottom that are kind of difficult to come out, and I don't want to break them all. So, and they're hard to get at. So let's take these two off and see how we make out. A couple of T30s.
T30s. Yeah, this is long. I remember it being a really long screw. There you go. So get that insert out, and now we can get our bolts for the transmission lines.
So these are the two for the condenser that you have to take out. These are a pain in the ass if you leave the grill in, so we got that out. And then there's two down on the bottom that will go in from over here. These sit right in those slats for the condenser, so you only have two bolts holding it in, and then they fall into this thing. And this is what's so crappy about taking this thing off. So we can take these two bolts off right now and get this thing a little loose. See what happens. Yeah, it does. Alright, so we got it out of the tab over there, and we got it out of the tab. So this is just kind of free floating now, and this is what we need. So I was telling Tony that this condenser, half of this condenser is an transmission cooler, and the other half is for your air conditioning. So we got to take this line off here. And this is for the transmission fluid. Just rested right on there.
Here it comes.
Yeah, just stuck right on that.
Right on the threads. Takes care of that. So on this little clamp right here, there's like a little opening on the side right there. You can probably poke, a pick or a screwdriver in there to put pressure on that tab. and then kind of peel it apart. It's a little bit of a pain, but I wanted to show you guys up close what it looks like. That's what you're up against in there. So we got a reverse torque bit right here that's kind of fighting us a little bit. We're gonna take that stud out to try to wiggle this lower line out of our way. He doesn't want to give up.
But it's got 180,000 miles on it, so now if I can get that off, I can just deal with this one effing line right here.
Yeah, we're in the wind, so. All right, we finally got our lower line free, and I just kind of had to tap it a little bit. So now we can move these transmission lines around, gain some room. So peel our hose off there. That's a good little trick. So right now we're going after the lower radiator hose clamp. We're gonna get this freed up.
Look at that, huh?
There you go.
These new pliers.
Get those pliers.
Amazon.
Amazon will put a link to them. I was a little worried.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I see.
Cool. Bought it, this whole kit right here.
So
$16.
$16.
It's like, you gotta be kidding me. It's worth $16 for that one clamp it just took off, all right?
Thing that's like the ends on a Japanese beetle. Pinch ya.
That worked out really good.
Yeah, they work out good. Huh.
Let's see if I can pull this up. Working me, I'll tell you that.
There you go. That's why we said in here, just throw a new low radiator hose on it at a minimum, and then because this thing's a pain to get out of there.
Well, I gotta try and get these lines, you know, up out of the way.
So you get at the bolt.
So you can get at that bolt.
Okay.
And I got one over here on this side, which is a 10 millimeter. I'm gonna use the quarter drive with the single.
Where's this one? Right there?
Yeah.
All right, so it's the same spot on the other side?
Correct.
So right now we're in a tight spot. Steve's going to go after the 10 millimeter bolt that's up on the side of the shroud. And like we showed you where it is on the other side, that's exactly parallel to this one. So that 10 millimeter bolt is right there. You can see it over to the left behind the transmission line. That's what we're taking out.
I'm gonna go in with a swivel and try and get it. And it's tight, man.
It's tight.
It's the worst part of the job, I think, right here.
Alright, we're gonna take that out and get back to it in a minute. Alright, we're going after the second bolt, and this one is actually easy to see on film.
And it's gonna run right into the frame, though.
Yeah. You gotta be kidding me.
No.
I see what you're talking about.
I don't know if we can pry the radiator over. Let's try.
Freaking pain. So we have a couple bolts holding the radiator in, so we're gonna loosen these up or take them out so we can move the radiator around. One is right there, and the other one is right there, and then hopefully we can move the radiator over to gain more room on that bolt. Right, Steve?
Yeah. That's the plan.
That's the plan, Stan.
So.
So my quarter drive is set up on a swivel. What size is that?
10 millimeters.
10 mil?
Yeah. Nice long ones. Over here. This is going to give us some movement. We've got to try and stuff the radiator over to the driver's side of the car.
Even if you get like a ½ inch out of it.
All I need is an 1/8 of an inch.
Yeah, just enough room to
Just
freaking...
to get the socket on. Of course, these are long ass bolts.
Alright, we're gonna finish taking this out.
Okay, get it to turn now.
Yeah, we've moved the radiator over a little bit, and they get a little more room.
It's still tight as hell though.
So we're gonna wrestle with this for a second, get that bolt out, and be right back to you. Alright, get the bolt out down below. There's 2 more bolts to tackle up here, one on each side of the shroud. Are those 10 millimeters too?
Yeah.
10 mil?
Got LEDs up top.
One there, and there's one over here.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked when you showed me the price.
Yeah, this was eyeing out the other day.
Alright, let's see if we can slide this monstrosity. Boy, every inch is a
this job.
certain.
This is a suck-ass job. Here we are, right down to the radiator.
God dang, man!
Shazam!
What else is clamped on?
I don't know. This, you know, there's something else that's gonna screw us.
Oh Jesus! Huh? I'm moving this, and the lines are moving for the.
Is it time for beer yet?
All right, so. I know, huh?
Oh. What are you caught on, Steve?
What am I not caught on?
Yeah, what are you not caught on?
Yeah,
So you gotta get the condenser off because it's gonna hang on. Go over here.
Okay. So the radiator sucks. It slides down behind the two brackets here. So this is what makes it difficult to come out.
Yeah, everything just fights here at this.
See those turning lines are just hooking on and being a jerk.
And the pet
And
cock.
it's so tight. Look how tight it is between
Yeah.
the frame.
The pet
Right?
cock's
I'm hitting the tank over here, right?
Yeah.
It's hitting the radiator neck down there, and it's hitting the petcock on the other side.
Yeah.
And somehow this thing has to just come out, straight up.
I think they slid this in on the assembly line and built the Jeep around it. It's a game of inches. Hey, on the other side, on your left, can you tweak it towards the core support?
See, the condenser's trying to fall right out of the truck.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
And that sucks.
I guess if the camera guy put down the camera, we could get more room and help out. There you go. Tilt it forward. And he like hung up on
The train lines.
the tranny line.
Why wouldn't I be?
Freaking pain in the ass.
And you can't really manipulate them too far.
Yep.
And the tank's hitting the other side over here.
Oops. If you heard a crunch, that was my stomach on the fender.
Still, right? It still doesn't.
Now it's hanging up on the plug over there on the freaking AC line, dude. See it? The petcocks. Now you're on the freaking
Now we're hitting the snare box.
center box.
again.
We got an arm in there.
You gotta pull the box back.
Got a pain in the nuts. There you go. It'll help if you have a buddy for this job, just to help tweak shit around. We had to transfer over these onto the mounts on both sides and the feet, the rubber feet down here for the bottom.
Well, this monstrosity goes. Tony had to move that steering box for me.
Steve and I lowered the radiator in, and what I did is you kind of need an extra set of hands. I held the transmission lines through here with one hand. I put a finger into the tab of the condenser right here to hold that up because that's fighting you too. And then Steve on the other side cleared the frame rails over there with the petcock.
And you gotta get these rubbers past this here. So
he's talking about is right there where the mounts off the radiator. You got to get them past those brackets.
Yeah.
And it takes a little finagling, but with an extra set of hands and doing what we just did, it wasn't too bad.
yeah. So
If you're trying to do it by yourself, it's kind of a pain.
it's brutal.
It's
by
brutal.
itself. So I've done them by myself. It's the worst part is trying to get it back. Place. So it looks like we're gonna clear this fitting down on the bottom here.
Yeah, that was a
So
concern originally.
so now we're gonna get the fan assembly in, and we're not bolting the radiator in yet because we need to manipulate this radiator so that we can catch this bolt right down here.
Yep.
So we're gonna clean up those little short bolts and put a little never sees on them and get going with that.
So what we're doing right now, before we go down below and raise this thing up again, is we're testing out all the threaded, there's 4 threaded tabs in here to catch these bolts, and making sure the threads are good before we start bolting this together. Right, Steve?
Yeah.
We've had this happen before. So right now, before we put the shroud and everything, we're looking right at that lower radiator hose. It's right in your face. So we're gonna take that out of there while we have all the room in the world. these clamps. How many times have I said that? They're a pain in the ass.
Okay.
I need a worm clamp anything.
That's what's going back on is worm clamp.
Worm it, baby.
Yeah. Let's see if it moves.
There you go.
All right.
She's gonna wiggle it to the bottom.
Yeah, let's go pull it down from the bottom and then we'll change the clamp over and feed it back up.
Grab on and yank, Steve.
Yeah. Yeah, that's brutal. I'll tell you that. So.
Pretend you're the chick on Porky's. So we got our hoses here, our radiator hoses. The old ones, they came with a sleeve on, the old ones. So we're taking those off. I'm gonna transfer them onto the new hoses. And it helps to protect the hose against stuff rubbing on it and make it a hole.
So we're gonna pull this hose down, and we got a new one, and we're feeding it up the top. And I'm just gonna stick the hose back up there, and we'll get the clamp on it after. Now the new hose does not have this spring in it. I don't know if I can pull this whole spring out and reuse it. Not really sure. So
It's like a slinky.
We'll see if it goes in there.
So Steve's sticking a slinky back in the hose.
Yeah, I don't know if we have to, but we're gonna give it a shot. So,
You know what's gonna happen? That's gonna rot out and go right into the water pump. Sleep tight, my pal.
you may be right, my friend. All right. Get it up. Yeah, I twisted it in there. Yeah, I did. All right. So it's in there, and
Yeah.
is it gonna help? I don't know. Maybe. The other one with this in there lasted 180,000 miles, all right? So we're gonna go with it. I gotta put the sleeve. And I kept it behind the tie rod end, so, we're gonna pull this up and feed it up in there. And it ain't all that easy to get it up into there. Yeah, there's always something in your way on this Jeep. All right, we get it close enough I can reach it up there. So I'm just gonna sit the clamp, up on here for now. Roll this up into place. If I get it to slide, it'll slide.
There you go. I'm gonna slide the clamp on. Make sure the rubs on it.
It's right up against the steering box hoses.
That sleeve is like one of those Chinese finger traps. Remember them? You put your fingers on, you can't get it out. Steve, stop goofing around. This is very serious.
So the clamp's on, but nothing's tight, because after I get it on, I'm going to twist everything into place. And when the steering box is moved forward, I'll be able to slide that sleeve up. But I ain't sweating it right now. So the hose is on, so we're going to go drop the fan in right now. Not looking forward to these lower bolts down here. This is going to be a crappy part of this. Just want to stop these, leaving everything loose because I gotta move this thing around so I can get that bolt caught down there.
All right, so now we're gonna try to catch these bolts to hold the fan onto the radiator.
And this is the one Tony had to pry the radiator over, and looks like we're gonna have to again.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to hop off camera, guys. What I did is I had a pry
bar in here, and we wedged the radiator over so we can get the bolt to come in straight. So we popped our line back in here, just slid it down into place.
Yep.
And pop this one in here, and this one was locked in place a little better. We're gonna probably have to come back to this one because we gotta get it hooked up top into the thing. Yeah, it's slipping down there.
The one the pump was a pain. Yeah. It slipped right on there, no problem.
Yeah. So we got our bolts for the radiator. We're gonna just stick these into place to start them. And we can tighten down this one, the two top fan shroud bolts. Get these started. Just run them down. I was going to use the electric ratchet, but okay. Tighten this one up. Get all my bolts caught before I tighten them. Get that one done. Now we're going to change the O-rings on these, and we got some new O-rings. We'll put them on, and then we'll bolt this down.
All right, so we just tossed some new O-rings onto the transmission lines. They just press right on. No big deal. Yours are in good shape.
I put some AC O-rings on there.
So
the green ones, the black ones, they're probably the same. You know, I'm just trying to get something as close as I can.
If they're not, we'll find out.
Yeah. So we got to get.
This is Steve's Jeep, so we don't care.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No, we do care. All right, let me get that bolt here. Yeah, the worst part of this job is it's my son's Jeep.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting paid for it.
And the lighting guy gets $1.35 an hour.
Let me tighten this up, and then we'll tighten the 10 up.
It's okay, Steve, if you're not getting paid, because you know what's going on here? We're buying time. Because when we're up at my camp, whipping back beers, you're not going to get that phone call, Dad, my Jeep's leaking. So you just bought yourself some time. That's really what's going on. Right?
Yeah, that is what's going on. All right, let me tighten that up. Until after we start this, to make sure I got no leaks here.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that grill's a beast. It's kind of a pain. So put that little clamp back on and hold the transmission lines together.
This was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, this looks like that.
Yeah, that was nice, huh? Why not?
Yeah.
I wish it came off like that. All right, so we got our condenser bolted back on. We got the bottom of the condenser locked into the slots on both sides. We have to tap it down with the pry bar. We got our two 10mm bolts holding the condenser on. We got our two 10mm bolts holding the radiator back in place. And we've got our bolt for our line here, which is 10mm for the transmission lines. And we're gonna, our next step now is we'll get the upper radiator hose on it.
Yep.
We have to plug our condenser in.
Yep.
I mean, we have to plug our fans in, and we have to tighten the two top bolts here, so let me lower it down a little more. We got the two 10s up here. Down tight.
Nice.
Okay, that's tight. All right, so we can throw on. We got to plug the condenser in now. I mean the fan, excuse me.
Fan. And there's a little red locking tab slide thing that's on it, and you just push it in.
Slide it over. And then we've got our button plug here. We're gonna push it back into the shroud. Yeah, and everything's hard to plug in, push in, take off. Jeez.
Just don't buy one of these. I've owned like 3 of these. They're a pain.
Okay, so we run this line over here, because this goes underneath the radiator hose.
There you go.
Okay. Now let's get our upper radiator hose on, we're clamped on, and we've got the bottom clamp tight. Now that we've got the fan condenser in, the fan in, we're gonna go and tighten this clamp up right here. So we can tighten this one up, and I could probably get the little quarter ratchet in there to snug it, then I'll do the final turn on it.
That's on the upper hose.
On the upper radiator hose.
The lower radiator hose, upper part of it, that's what I meant. So that's what we're talking about right there. You can see the little clamp.
Let me finish tightening up with the hands. Ratchet.
Shoes tight.
Yep. We got the bottom one tight. So we're gonna, before we bolt the steering box back in, we're gonna get the upper radiator hose on. We're gonna fill it. We're gonna pressure test it, and then we'll get the steering box and the windshield washer jug, and the fender skirt, the tire back on. Yeah, all kinds of fun. Okay, get that one snug. Let's get this one on tight.
Tip sticking out of the radiator, there's actually a stop on there for the hose. So you want to go right up to that stop. Yep, right there, Steve. Here we are. And then you know you're all the way on there.
All right, looks like we are ready to fill the coolant. We've got our 2 hoses on, and we've got our fill line back on that goes over to the surge tank over here. And we're gonna fill up the antifreeze on it, and we're gonna pressure test it and make sure that we don't have any leaks before we go and put the rest of this thing back together.
Okay, so right now we're refilling the radiator. We threw a bunch in the radiator, kind of topped off the overflow right here. And we're gonna pressure test it. All right, so what we're gonna do before we bolt anything else together is we're gonna pressure test it. And Steve's looking to see how much pressure's on the cap.
It doesn't say. So we're gonna go around 12 pounds.
Yeah, usually it's like 12 to 15, ain't it?
Yeah, so.
A lot of times.
Okay, so we've got our pressure tester here. This is an air one. I don't like to pump them anymore. And we're just gonna go up slowly.
Yeah, this pressure tester is cool.
Okay, so I'm at 13.
Yep.
Right there. I'm just gonna keep an eye on it. So now it's gonna drop a little because we've got an air pocket.
Yeah.
But now is the time we're looking for leaks. So we're gonna inspect our radiator hoses and all of that stuff right now. So we're inspecting our hoses here. We got no leaks. Feel the hose, it's hard as a rock because it's under pressure. And then we've got our lower radiator hose that we've got hooked on over here. And I've got no leaks there. And I can look down at the bottom radiator, and I don't see anything puking out there.
Nope.
And if you look at our gauge, we're staying, at the 13 pounds that we had in there.
Yeah, it's a dead nuts on.
So we don't have a leak. So that's the good news. So now we can start putting the rest of it back together. Steering box, we'll bolt up first, and then we'll get the jug put back in place. And yeah, it's just a lot of work. Then we got to put the air box back in place. So we're going to go and finish that up now. So to release this, now remember, you're going to have to run this outside after anyways to burp out the air pocket. I'm just going to crack this very slowly to let the air out. You can see the gauge dropping. They say not to use the relief valve and push the air out through here. It can damage the gauge. So I'm just turning this ever so slightly to let the air out slowly. And it's gonna gurgle a little bit of antifreeze out, but I'm going slow, trying to get down to the 0 mark. Anytime you open up a coolant system, if you have a pressure tester, you should pressure test it.
So what we're getting ready to do now is we're going to start the Jeep up. We're going to keep an eye on the trainee lines right here to make sure there's no leak.
good. Alrighty. Running like shit because the airbox is off.
Yeah, I know.
Alright.
It's all right.
Alright, we got no leaks. It's all good.
Now we're at the point where we can tuck in our headlights and pull up our skirt.
Yeah.
Right, Steve? We'll do that after we put the grill in.
Okay. Then we can get our headlights.
Yeah, they just pop into place. And this is that one long bolt that holds them in.
Yeah. We'll never see it on these.
Yeah, those are gazelle.
We got these two to pop back in here.
Yep.
All right, so we get the grill back in, we get the front of the truck back together, the headlights are in, we pressure tested the coolant system. Let's get that steering box in.
Yeah, we gotta button that up too. Alright.
So now I can get this thing back out of my face and kind of hang it down. We're gonna catch the other bolts.
Yep, get 3 more. Catch these all by hand, and then we're gonna be able to zip them down with the gun.
Alright, so now let's get this stupid jug.
Stupid jug.
Stupid jug back in place. I was breaking our ass trying to get this not to slide in the last time. Oh, it fell right in place. And those are only 2 10mm bolts that I just put in. Alright, we got our thing in there. The tongue's in over here, so the tank is secure. We got 1 bolt to put upstairs up top. And then we can put our rear box back in. And start catching these button plugs that we took out. And get these all back in.
And okay.
Alright, we're getting our button plugs in here. These were tough to take out. I'm gonna have to get a hammer and tap them in. I got this one that goes behind the fender, like this. This one goes behind it, like that. And these are just regular button plugs.
Yours may go in a little easier than this one. This fender's kind of a little beat.
Okay, that one's in.
That one's in.
And then I got this bottom one here. I have to go up underneath this metal bracket here. Another one up here. I gotta tap these in.
Okay. that, plug. There you go. Show this boss.
One more something plug for here.
Yeah. So we got to worm this airbox tube in.
Yeah. There's actually a little button plug down there.
Is there?
A slot that it slides into,
So we gotta put this airbox assembly back in, and there's 3 bolts, 1, 2, I think the third one's over there that locks in with nuts underneath the wheelhouse.
There's that broken rubber that we were talking about.
Oh, yeah?
Nothing left to it, and we ain't worrying about it. So, yeah, so the airbox goes in this way. Okay, so let's line up these holes.
Yep.
Joy! Oh, look at.
happened?
We're still screwing ourselves, Tony.
What happened now?
Still screwing ourselves.
Another freaking bolt?
We got that one stupid bolt for this.
Oh, right over in the corner there.
Yeah, thanks.
There you
All right, let's try it again. Make sure this.
Yeah, it's swap places.
Before you put the light down here.
Yep.
No, right in here. Okay, the button plug's still in there.
Line up your duct work.
Okay. Alrighty. So we're going to tighten the nuts from the top and just hold these from
The bottom.
I'll hold these from the top and we'll tighten them from the bottom.
So what we're doing now is we're catching the nuts from the bottom. There's 3 of them, and we're gonna tighten them from down here. There's the light. And we're gonna zap these back in, and we'll get back to you in a second. Okay.
So we get the box all nice and tight and drop our air filter back in it. Cover. Slip this on. It was running pretty loud when we ran it because we didn't have the airbox cover on it. And it's just got these little clips that you slide over and you clasp.
Yep.
There's 4 of them. This one sucks. Of course, it's right where the windshield washer jug is.
There's not a whole lot of room to work on this thing.
You'd be surprised. I know. There's one underneath here.
Some stuff's easy, but the other stuff's a pain. The spark plugs are easy.
So this one didn't catch.
No?
I gotta get. All right, there it is. Oh.
There it is.
There it is.
There you go.
Man. Yeah, that one was tough to catch. Okay, tighten that clamp up. Check our transmission fluid. We're gonna run it outside to burp the air. And
Burp the
that's-
water.
Yeah.
Antifreeze, rather.
I burped the coolant, pardon me. Yeah, we'll burp the air out of the cooling system. Yeah, let's go that route. So.
That's pretty much it. Like Steve said, we're gonna let it run, get up the temp, check for leaks, and that's about it, guys.